Good morning, guys, and welcome to the last episode that I will be filming in this apartment on this wall. I cannot be more excited about moving out of this state, moving out of this house. I can't say that. I loved this house. Today, we will be talking about the ghosts of Hogwarts, how they got there, and the life stories of all of the ghosts that we know about. Today, we're going to be talking about the ghost of Hogwarts and the one poltergeist that they have, Peeves, and all of the life stories of the ghosts that we know about in the Harry Potter series as a request of my House Cup winners on YouTube, Hufflepuff. This was actually the main request from all Hufflepuffs on my last video. I think every single Hufflepuff that commented asked about ghosts. So I was like, perfect. This makes me so happy. I can make everyone happy. But then there was one person who had also simultaneously both requested the ghosts and the history of Diagon Alley and how all of the shops came to be in there. So that will be a TikTok video coming soon. And if I find that there's enough information, then I will probably turn it into a YouTube video at some point. Next week's video, you guys are going to come on the road with me and I will vlog my entire traveling journey. I know that right now, this screen frame looks normal and it looks like everything's the same, but it's not. My entire living room is my moving staging area and I'm just surrounded by shit. And I can't wait to just get it out of this house, put it in a truck, and get it out of here. So I'll be taking you through my entire moving process. And then thank God next week, someone else is editing this YouTube video and it won't be me. And this is my last one on this wall, last one I'm editing for now until I can learn some proper skills and get the proper equipment myself. Honestly, I kind of wanted to wear something yellow today for this video, but then I realized I don't own anything that's yellow because that is not compatible with my skin tone, I don't think. And the only yellow I have is this one like gold dress that I wore to a wedding one time. So I'm not wearing a wedding guest dress to film a video. Now, like I said, we're going to go through these ghosts one at a time, and we're starting with the patron ghost of each house with Fat Friar, the house ghost of Hufflepuff. He was in the movies, but you wouldn't know him if you didn't know who he was when you looked at him. There wasn't really an introduction or anything that was spoken about him. But in the first movie, the ghost that comes out of the floor, like, ooh, that's the Fat Friar. This ghost dates all the way back to being one of the first rounds or classes of students at Hogwarts and was actually taught by the founders himself. At some point in the Fat Friar's life, which by the way, we don't ever get another name for him besides the Fat Friar. Otherwise, I would tell you his actual name. That's all I got for you guys. Sorry. I assume after he left Hogwarts, because I don't know how he would have done it while he was at school at Hogwarts, but he joined the clergy and spent his life working for charity and trying to bring good into this world. Unfortunately, a lot of muggles did not like the things that they saw that happened to him. He was able to help a lot of people, but the muggles got scared of his magic. They saw him heal people from, I think it was dragon pox. Okay, I don't know what type of pox. The Wizarding World article on him just says the pox. So he was able to heal illnesses from muggles with just the touch of a stick from what they saw. And then there was also a comment about how he would pull a rabbit out of a hat, and it was ill advised. But with muggle fear of magic, he was killed for it. So that was his undoing. And he then went on to return back to Hogwarts and take up a post as the patron ghost of the Hufflepuff house. Did I say hat or cup? He pulled rabbits out of a cup, like the communion cup that you do at church. If you're Catholic, you know what I'm talking about. This video will also be sidestepped with facts about ghosts in general. Not all ghosts are bound to Hogwarts, and not all ghosts are bound to a certain place. Many can choose where they go. This ghost just decided he wanted to live out his eternal life in ghost form in Hogwarts. Now, it's also based off of the fact that Voldemort's fragmented soul could not pass on to the afterlife, and that's why we saw him stuck at King's Cross and Harry's, I wanted to say midlife crisis, because then I want to say, but when Harry's trying to decide if he's going to go into the light or go back to dealing with all the shit that's going on in real life, and they see Voldemort's fragmented soul, it's based off of that they're like, or it is believed that a soul has to be whole in order to have the choice of passing on to the afterlife or returning as a ghost. And once you make that choice, there's no going back. If you go on to the afterlife, you can't come back as a ghost. If you stay as a ghost, you can't one day be like, all right, I've had enough. I'm going on to the afterlife now. You're stuck for all eternity. You're stuck. But like I said, the idea is your soul needs to be a whole, complete soul. And I guess killing rips the soul. So it's theorized that killing would not allow you to have that choice. But then there's the whole question of the Bloody Baron, and he had killed Helena and then he killed himself. So where is the line, and when is your soul fragmented, and when can you move on or be a ghost, and when can you not? And you just get stuck at King's Cross. Continuing on with the Fat Friar, he was known to be incredibly nice to students. He was very helpful, and reading in the books, you see him being incredibly excited for the Hufflepuffs that get sorted into his house. He was also kind enough to be one of the only ghosts to be willing to give Peeves a second chance and invite him to the start of term feast, to which the other ghosts were like, no way in hell are we allowing that. We know what he's going to do. And the Fat Friar thought he deserved another chance. But that's really it to the Fat Friar story. We know a couple, we just kind of know him in passing throughout the book, that he's seen at death day parties, at the term of feast, or the start of term feasts in the Great Hall. Good God. And we know that there were frequent areas of the castle where he would haunt, like the grand staircase. But other than that, he was just a passing character, and I think his story is still pretty cool. Next, we're going to be talking about Nearly Headless Nick, or if you didn't know his full name, Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington. Nicholas de Mimsy Porpington. Sir Nicholas was a member of a royal court when he was younger, or when he was alive, not younger. We know he died in 1492 on Halloween. We don't know precisely when he was born, but I believe he may have been a little bit after the Fat Friar's age, because I don't believe he was taught by any of the founders. After finishing his education at Hogwarts, he was knighted into King Henry VII's court. And Nicholas had unfortunately died of execution after having a pure accident. We know for a fact he was not the best at charms when he was at school, so maybe he just used a wrong spell, had a real Gilderoy Lockhart moment. He had been strolling in a park one evening and met a woman named Lady Grieve. Now, this was the day before he died. So this is October 30th, and she had some crooked teeth, and he was like, no, I can totally fix this. I'm a magical dentist. I don't know. He was like, yeah, sure, give me your teeth. And somehow turned her teeth into tusks instead. So once again, at the hands of the Muggles and at the hands of the court that he served, he was executed the following day. His wand was taken from him by the Muggles. He was prevented from using any magic, and the axe was blunt when they went to off with his head, and it did not sever all the way through. Little skin flap hanging there. That's why he was not allowed in the Headless Hunt. And if me saying it that way didn't gross you out enough, guess how many times they had to hack into his neck? 45. 45 tries. And they still didn't get it all the way. 45 tries. I would be pissed too if I was Nearly Headless Nick and I was stuck in the ghost afterlife. What if that was part of his decision-making process? What if he stood, I'm sure it's different for everybody. I'm sure it's not King's Cross for everybody. I'm just going to keep saying King's Cross so we all think about the same scene that we're talking about in the books and movies. Sir Nicholas, he prefers Sir Nicholas. Sir Nicholas stood at King's Cross and he was like, you know what? I bet I could join the Headless Hunt. I could live a pretty good life as a ghost. I could continue to serve something and do, contribute to a higher power, a group, be a part of something. I don't want to just go into the afterlife and sit ghost teenies. I don't know. I'm making shit up. So what if that was part of the reason why he chose to stay as a ghost? And after somebody misplacing the fucking grindstone that the axe should have been sharpened on, and it was the fact that the Muggles that murdered him, were not efficient in their murdering, he could not join the Headless. I would be so pissed. I would be so pissed. For all eternity. Yeah, me too. I don't blame him. Now, I will say it does outright say in the books that Sir Nicholas chose to stay in ghost form. He chose to come back from being afraid of death. He was afraid of dying, he was afraid of death, and he would rather be this imitation of himself rather than move on to the afterlife. He was just afraid. But I wonder if he had thought about the headless hunt before he made his decision. After his death, he came back to Hogwarts as the Gryffindor house ghost. And because most of the storyline is in the Gryffindor house, we see Sir Nicholas far more than any other ghost. And I always thought it was so sweet that he invited the Golden Trio to his death day parties. I loved that. I wonder if there was anybody else that he ever liked enough to invite, like any other students. It's so cute to me. And then also it was in the third book that Nearly Headless Nick for his death day party did a reenactment of his own beheading. I really liked his character. Nearly Headless Nick was also fiercely loyal to Harry. He really valued his friendship with him and often helped him out and then didn't sell out his stories either. When other ghosts or other people thought that he might be useful for information because of his close relationship with Harry, Nearly Headless Nick told them nothing. He protected that loyalty. And he also was the one who pointed Harry in the right direction to find the Grey Lady when he was looking for her to talk to her about Tom Riddle. And he also was the one that told Harry that Bloody Baron had seen Dumbledore coming back from a Horcrux hunting trip. And so they also had his back. They told him the stuff, but they didn't tell his stuff. So these ghosts were great. Oh, and then the part where Harry's talking to him about Sirius and how he's saying, and Nicholas tells him that very few wizards choose the path of a ghost. And Harry's like, but I know he'll come back. I know he will. And then he doesn't. But yeah, we got a lot of Sir Nicholas, and he was pretty freaking awesome. And now for Slytherin's ghost, the Bloody Baron, who was the only other, I can't really say person because he was a spirit. He was the only other, is he even a being at that point? Can I say being? The only other thing besides Dumbledore, the only existing spirit creature being, I don't know. I need to look at the classifications and see if spirit is still considered a being because I don't think it is. I'm stuck on a tangent that I shouldn't be stuck on. Anyway, Dumbledore and Bloody Baron were the only people, the only things that could tell Peeves what to do. The only ones that Peeves respected. Peeves was scared of Bloody Baron, and he was like, I'm not crossing him. I'm not doing that. I'm not getting in trouble. No. Now, the Baron was always the Baron until his death. He was dubbed the Bloody Baron after he came back to Hogwarts as a ghost by the students. He did live in the timeline where he was taught by the founders themselves, and he was taught by Salazar. His story is incredibly interwoven with Helena Ravenclaw's story, so we'll kind of bridge the two of them together, and that's why I put them both at the end. He had loved her for the time that they were at Hogwarts together. He had really loved her, and when she had dashed away with her mother's diadem, Rowena Ravenclaw, God, I couldn't remember her first name. Rowena Ravenclaw had tasked the Baron with going after her daughter, knowing that he loved her. When Helena refused to come home, refused to be with him, refused his love again, and was like, I'm not coming back and I'm not returning this diadem, and you can go tell my mom, no. For some reason, he had such a fit of rage that he stabbed her to death and he killed her. And that was the blood that covered him. He was forever covered in Helena's blood, the blood of the woman that he loved and killed. And pretty much nobody knew this. Nobody knew that it was her blood. Nobody knew why he was bloody. At one point, who was it? One of the students asked Nicholas, why is there blood on him? And Sir Nicholas was like, I never asked, actually. But right after he stabbed Helena to death, he committed suicide with the exact same knife. So it was also his blood. I feel like it would have been more his blood than her blood, but it's supposed to be her blood too. The Baron was definitely to be respected. Draco even tried to give him some sass, and he was like, I am nobility. Watch your mouth, you skinny little blonde kid. Except he didn't say it like that. He just was like, you should respect me. I am nobility. He was known to scare Slytherin students in their common room, which that would have been fun as hell if that happened in Hogwarts Legacy as a Slytherin. That would have been a really cute addition. And apparently, one of his favorite pastimes was hanging out in the astronomy tower, which we don't really see all too often throughout, especially the movies. I don't know, whatever. That's besides the point. He just likes to hang around the astronomy tower and moan and groan and make a bunch of ghost noises. Throughout the book series, Bloody Baron was mentioned casually quite a few times as attending Sir Nicholas's death day parties and being in the background and encountering students here and there and scaring Neville a few times when he had to sleep outside of the common room because he kept forgetting the passwords. Okay, hey guys, I had to hop on like a quick meeting call, so I'm trying to like remember where I was at. I'm pretty sure I had completely finished the Bloody Baron, and now we're just going to finish Helena Ravenclaw's story, which there really isn't all that much else to tell. She was there at the same time as the others. She's the house ghost of Ravenclaw. She was taught by her mother and the other three founders. She was murdered by the Baron and returned to the castle to live out her days. Or not live out her days, dear God. Returned to the castle to haunt it forever. She is the only ghost that we see turn into a ball of light like that. We don't know if anybody else, what that ability is, if anybody else has that ability, if it's a normal ghost thing or not. She keeps to herself more than the other ghosts do. She kind of minds her own business. She's still incredibly kind, though, to those who are kind to her. Also unknown if she ever got to talk to her mother. We know that her mother was starting to fall ill before she had sent the Baron after her daughter, and that she sent the Baron after her daughter, and she was falling ill because of the heartbreak of what her daughter had done. And we don't know if she ever, ghost Helena, if she ever saw her mom again and was like, I'm sorry. Or if her mother died of heartbreak before her ghost even returned. And none of the other ghosts know that the Baron killed Helena. I don't think the other ghosts know. I don't think many people know, because people don't know where the blood on him came from. And also most people don't even know that Helena had even taken the diadem and had done anything with it. So, lost in time. Next on my list is Professor Binns, which we also get to see in Hogwarts Legacy and interact with him, which I really enjoyed. Everything we read about him in the books is that he's the most boring professor there. He has been the professor since he was alive, and I guess nobody else wants to take up the post, and Dumbledore's like, how am I supposed to get rid of a ghost, who didn't even realize he died and just got up and continued teaching his classes. He knows he's a ghost now, but the man literally taught into his old age, went to the teacher room, the teacher lounge, whatever you want to call it, professor lounge, whatever, fell asleep, died in his sleep of natural causes, woke up a ghost, and went back to class and continued teaching. In the books, Professor Binns was actually the one to tell the students about the Chamber of Secrets, not McGonagall. He really only did it because it was the only time his students ever looked excited to listen to anything he said and had actually picked their heads up off the desks. That's really all I have to say about Professor Binns, so moving on. Myrtle Warren, everyone's favorite ghost, my favorite ghost. I love this bitch. But she is one of the few who is actually bound to Hogwarts and cannot leave. As we know her story, she saw a great big pair of yellow eyes and she died, and she remained in her bathroom. Now, to me, I kind of feel a little unsure if Myrtle was an intentional murder or if it was like, sweet, a muggle-born right here where I keep my snake, perfect. Because before her, really anybody was using that bathroom, and I don't know if Riddle just followed her in there or knew that Olive Hornby had bullied her and she had gone in there to cry, if that was typically where she went to cry, if people avoided that bathroom because they knew Myrtle went there to cry before she even died. I don't know. I think it was just a normal bathroom, and I think Olive Hornby had just bullied her about her glasses, her acne, her appearance, her whatever, and she had gone in there to cry, and then Tom Riddle had just happened to come in and open the Chamber of Secrets, and because Myrtle opened her door, that was it for her. Like, if she had stayed in there and not said a word, like, pulled her feet up on the toilet, been completely silent, like a fly on the wall, no one's actually there, I wonder if she would have lived. But anyway, she was pissed. She was super pissed that she was dead, super pissed at Olive Hornby, so she went so far out of her way to haunt, traumatize, bully this girl back. Which I also felt like it was pretty fitting that Olive Hornby was the one to find Myrtle's body anyway. Myrtle had immediately come back and just sat as a ghost above her body and waited for somebody to find her. Olive had come back around and said there was a professor who she comes in, are you sulking again? Are you still crying? Are you still sulking again? And she's like, this professor, oh, it was Dippet. It was the headmaster at the time. Professor Dippet, their headmaster, was, maybe he was, no, I think he was a headmaster then. Yeah, no, because Dumbledore was trying. Yeah, no, I didn't know if there was somebody before him. I knew Dumbledore wasn't it yet, but it was Dippet that was headmaster. I'm so sorry for my tangent. But anyway, Olive saw her body and was like, "Oh shit, what have I done?" And yeah, so she haunted Olive around the school, and then Olive's brother was having a wedding. Where was that wedding? I don't know where the wedding was. I feel like it was far-ish away. Like maybe somewhere in Scotland. I don't know. I feel like it was, far away from Hogwarts. Not super far, but like nowhere near it. And Myrtle then decided to go to the wedding uninvited, wreak absolute havoc, cause chaos, torment and haunt everyone. So then Olive Hornby goes to the Ministry of Magic and was like, yo, this ghost is crazy. She won't leave me alone. I'm the reason she's dead, but she also won't leave me alone. And can you do something about it? So then the Ministry of Magic restricts her into not leaving Hogwarts. Hermione didn't meet Myrtle in her bathroom. She had actually met her at the Death Day party, and it was Peeves that introduced them. Like, Hermione knew that Myrtle was in the bathroom. They had just never formally met. Hermione was making some comments that she probably shouldn't have been opening her mouth about at a Death Day party about how horrible it was to go in that bathroom. And Peeves was like, hey, Myrtle, we're talking about you over here. Now, something I really, really, really wish we had gotten in these movies was seeing Draco and Myrtle's relationship. They actually had a friendship. He really shared his feelings and shared his thoughts with her in the 6th year when he was under all of this pressure to kill Dumbledore. And he would go to her bathroom and he would cry with her and he would talk to her and he would tell her about the things that were going on in his life. And she had sworn to keep his secrets, and she did. She did keep his secret. She told Harry that there was somebody else crying in the bathroom, but she wouldn't say who or what it was about. And then that nasty little fight with Harry and Draco was in Myrtle's bathroom, and she watched. And when Snape came to handle what they had both done to one another, he sent Myrtle away, and that was the last time they saw her. Now, one of the last few named ghosts that we know of that we actually have any information on, and it wasn't just a name mention of a ghost in the books, somebody who actually has a bit of a story, was the head of the Headless Hunt. But we really don't even know all that much about him anyway. He died by beheading. His head was chopped off. At one point, I believe it was said by Dumbledore that most wizards that are sentenced to a beheading don't actually get beheaded because they're able to use their magic to escape. So it's not like it's super frequent. So I guess these are just the few that really did get beheaded because their wands were taken and they couldn't use their magic, like Sir Nicholas. But his name was Sir Patrick Delaney Podmore. And like I said, head of the Headless Hunt. And I would rather say it that way than than the one in charge of. Okay, back to my little tangent on what a ghost gets classified as, because I looked back through my notes here and I did a little internet researching in my break to make sure I understood it properly and I remembered things correctly. So for quite some time, a being was anything that could walk on 2 legs, which I guess excluded quite a lot of creatures, but a being is anything that walks on 2 legs. So a vampire is a humanoid being. A werewolf is, another being because they can walk on 2 legs. So this definition excluded ghosts because they glided, they didn't walk. Then the definition of a being got changed to anything that was able to speak a human language, any human language, and then they changed it again to any creature that was capable of understanding the law itself. I don't know. I guess I'm not a being because that gets really confusing at that point to me. Wait, no, not this specific law. It doesn't mean this specific law. I was taking that way too literally. I think it's just law in general. Any being capable of understanding law in general, the order of society. And then ultimately it was deemed insensitive to call ghosts beings because they're not being, they are has been. And so then the spirit division was made in care of magical creatures department in the ministry. Regulation and control of magical creatures. Care of magical creatures is the teaching class. Okay, I'm doing way too much shit at one time. I now have to take this couch apart and sell it to somebody on Facebook Marketplace. So I'm going to go move a couch, and I'll be back to finish this. It's incredibly fitting that I came back and my microphones won't turn on. So now I have to yell. Also very fitting that we're about to talk about the two poltergeists that we know, and I feel like everything's going to shit at this point. So Peeves would be happy. But before I go to Peeves, let's talk about Fastidio, who we met in Hogwarts Legacy. I loved him. Was not a fan of the mannequins in that quest, though. Not at all. Mannequins really freaked me the fuck out. I knew it was going to be a haunted quest. I knew I was in for something. I thought it was a video game, and I genuinely did not think I was going to be scared at all whatsoever. And I open up that door, and I just see the mannequin standing there like this, and I was like, oh, hell no. Side note, because I'm exhausted and I don't want to... I'm really excited that I'll be able to do gameplay soon, guys. So soon we're going to get gameplay YouTube videos, and I'm going to do the Quidditch game. I'm so happy. For anybody who didn't play the quest, or for anybody like me who had the Switch and everybody else on the PS5, everybody else got it first, but the Switch had to wait for the actual download drop. But essentially, there's this haunted little shop in Hogsmeade, and the shop owner, his name was Mason. There was some man who owned it, his name was Mason, and he just got a kick out of saying, oh yeah, go down to the basement and check out that chest. And they'd go into the chest, and they'd get stuck in mannequin hell. By the way, I just double-checked the shop owner name. It was Cassandra Mason. I was only remembering the last name, so it's a her, not a him. Sorry about that. But basically, you go through his quest, you answer. It wasn't so much riddles. You had to, go down. You ended up in this, library kind of thing. You had to go left in the library and go through this entire trial kind of thing and all the levels over there. And then you had to come back and then go to the right side and go through all those trials and everything. And it was so exhausting. It was actually a really long quest. It took me, over an hour to finish it. But it was a lot of fun. I just fucking hated the mannequins. And then in the end, you had to battle him multiple times, and then it flips the entire screen upside down, and then you have to battle him upside down. And then you basically agree with with Fastidio, you agree with the poltergeist, okay, you can haunt the shop during these hours on these days, and then you're like, the shop's gonna be closed on those days during those hours. So he gets to do what he wants, nobody gets tortured by the poltergeist. Now, Peeves never particularly entered any sort of contract with that. Peeves came with the castle. Children filed in, and where there is chaos, there is a poltergeist. They're not created in any sort of way other than the fact of a strong chaotic energy can just cause them to form into existence, just essentially out of nothing. They just happen. They just happen. Peeves spent the entire, nobody knows the Hogwarts history like Peeves does, I don't think. But he spent the entire existence of Hogwarts existing in that castle, had been attempted to be banished many times. The ministries tried to get involved. Umbridge tried to get rid of him, really tried to get rid of him. But there was no way in hell you were getting rid of Peeves. My favorite Peeves moments that he has ever done, just random moments, was dumping a bag, I think it was spiders, but I think it was tarantulas, dumping a bag of tarantulas over just the tables in the Great Hall, just like, oh, hello, here you go. Neville's first day in the castle, dropping a bunch of walking sticks on his head. Him unscrewing the chandelier, and it was in the 5th movie, so all of the professors were encouraging Peeves to piss off Umbridge. So he's screwing off this chandelier thing, and McGonagall's like, it goes the other way. Perfect. When he put so poltergeists had different rules than ghosts. Poltergeists they were a bit more tangible. They usually had some color to them, whereas ghosts were just gray and gloomy. Poltergeists could have some color to them, and they were able to actually touch and move, not touch, but like with force move objects. So Peeves was like knocking over statues. He was able to put a chewed up piece of gum into Remus Lupin's little keyhole for his door, to which Lupin just shot it out at him and got it stuck up his nose, was just like zoop with his wand, went straight up Peeves' nose, so gum is in Peeves' nose and he's off running. And the best moment of all time was when McGonagall gave Peeves her walking stick, and then Peeves had a sock full of chalk, like Sam from iCarly style, and was beating Umbridge out of the castle after she had tried to slip out of the hospital wing unnoticed. But that brings me to the conclusion of my last YouTube video in this apartment. You guys, I'm so fucking happy. I'm so happy. I can't wait. Thank you guys for all of your love. Thank you for all of your support. And thank you for helping me achieve this dream and for being here from the very beginning and being the people that stuck with me and were nice to me and loved me at my worst when I had no idea what the fuck I was doing and everything was brand new to me. I had never done a YouTube video before. I had never edited in this format before. I had no idea what I was doing. And I learned for you guys, and just thank you for your encouragement. Thank you for asking for more. Thank you for always making requests. Thank you for commenting on my videos. Thank you for asking me questions. Thank you for telling me your theories and taking the time. It means the world. And thanks for always talking back. I'm just sitting in an apartment with a cat talking to a phone. So thank you for always talking back to me. I love you all, and I will see you on the road next week. Bye.